Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel Review Anything and Everything. And today we're getting into this Xbox 360 Platinum Hits Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection, just an unboxing to kind of see kind of all the games that come with it. If it comes with a booklet, I am not too sure. Now, I haven't actually been into games for a very long time, but my kids were recently getting into games, and so I broke out the old Xbox 360, and then I went online to see if they still made games available for it. Funny enough, they make a lot of games for it that are cheap games, whether it's classics or just other types of games, and it's actually pretty cool. So I'm probably gonna end up jumping into a lot more of these now that my kids are getting into games. At their age, I don't really feel the need to buy a whole new system that is like $500 or more just to get them into games. They're only 7 years old, so any game is gonna be fun to them at this point, and they're just kind of really new into games. So figured to jump on this because it comes with a collection of different games, obviously. So let's get into it. So let's see here. And at first I wasn't sure. Link's gonna be in the description down below for you guys to purchase on Amazon, where I purchased it at. I wasn't sure at first it was gonna come as a disc because I know for a certain point there was an error, everything was downloadable. But I think that their marketplace is no longer online anymore. So now it just really acts as just a regular game system, not really being used online. So for anyone who still has their old system and maybe wants to bring some new life into it, I would suggest checking out some of these games that only go for like $20. This was $20, and there's a bunch of other games on there at $20, and it's not bad. So these are some of the classics that I grew up with years back, and I think that they would be great getting into now. Okay, so let's see, what do we got here? Can we even get inside this here? And they make this completely adult proof because they don't want me getting into it. So here you can see what it says on the back. Now it doesn't tell you everything that is on there, but when I looked up a couple things, and it says here, enhanced HD graphics, so it's supposed to be a little bit more visually better. Unlockable content. I've heard and looked up that it said like there are more games that you can unlock, which I don't really like the idea of that. I would rather just everything comes already included. And mega multiplayer fun, whatever that means. Play the originals that started it all, now in HD. Biggest Sega Genesis collection ever. Let's open it up and see what we got here. Obviously we have the disc, no need to take that off, but this is what I really wanted to unbox this for, is the booklet, and see what it tells us. What do we have going on here? Game controllers, so it tells you the controllers, what does what. And here go the games. And see, here goes unlockable games. The following games of the Sega Master System and arcade can also be unlocked and played via extras. So that to me sucks that you have to unlock those, but this is the list of all the games that it comes with, which is pretty good for $20. You got, and sorry if this is not, if I'm kind of sometime rearing off the screen with this, I'm reading it off screen. Alex Kidd in the Enchanted Castle. Alien Storm. Alien Storm, I remember that, but I never really played it. Ultra Beast used to be a classic. I don't know how well it holds up today, but back then I used to just love it because you transformed to some. Beyond Oasis, never heard of. Bonanza Bros. I feel like I heard the name, but I've never seen. Columns is kind of like a Tetris type of game. I don't know if I've played it before, but I know it was a Tetris-like style. Comic Zone, I remember seeing it before. I never dived into it much, but I think I played it a little bit. Decap Attack, starring Chuck D. Head. I have no clue. No, I think that might be that guy who looks like he's like a mummy. I'm not too sure. And he's got like his head is attached. It might be that, if I'm thinking correctly, but I'm not too sure. Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine is also like a Tetris type of game, I think. I've never played it before though. Dynamite Heady. I don't know sure about that one either. Echo the Dolphin and Echo the Tides of Time. I'm not sure. I know I played one of them before. I'm not sure which one I played, but that was actually a really good game. I actually beat it. It was actually a really good game, and the story in it is actually really good too. So that was definitely one that I think is worth being on here. eSWAT. I don't recall it. I don't recall. Let me see something. Let me just look on the case here. If this is showing, it's showing a lot of the pictures on here, but I don't know. I don't know as far as what that is. So, Fatal Labyrinth, never heard of that. Flicky, Gain Ground, Golden Axe is a classic beat 'em up. Golden Axe 2 and Golden Axe 3, classics. They used to be in the arcades back in the days. Kid Chameleon is an amazing game. I probably would hate to play it today because it's traumatizing to me because that game literally has like 100 stages and no save. I remember one time years back, I had to go out someplace. I was really young and I left the game on and came back. It was on for like 2 hours or something like that because I was getting close to beating the game and I was like, I didn't know how far I was. You don't even know if you're close. You just know you've completed several like tens of stages, like maybe like 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 stages. And you're like, I'm not turning this off. And I had to come back to the game. It was crazy. But yes, that game is hard. It is amazing, but it's keeps going. It's like if they took Super Mario Brothers, amped it up on steroids, and was just like, yes, this game is gonna never end. You get all these transformation abilities with all these detailed powers. That game literally, I don't even know if it got the credit it deserved because it literally is an enhanced version of a Mario game, is all I could describe it as, but it is amazing. Like I said, it'd be hard for me to play it now because going through it so much, hours and hours of playing as a kid, it was like so much. There is a cheat in it. I don't remember exactly now, where somewhere I think on the first stage or second stage, you can skip all the way to the very end and do it like that and beat it. But I actually went through all the way from the beginning to the end because before I knew of that cheat, I actually went through the whole game and I beat it. The hardest, like the longest thing I've ever done. But yes, that game alone is worth buying this for. Just that game alone. Phantasy Star 2, I've played Phantasy Star Online. That was the name of the game, Phantasy Star Online, for Sega Dreamcast. I actually still have that. I have my Dreamcast somewhere in storage. And so I've never played the earlier one, so that might be something that's interesting to get into. Phantasy Star Generations of Doom. Now, see, this is one thing that kind of sucks is Phantasy Star 1 is in the extras or whatever the case is, unlockable, which I think sucks because maybe you want to go through all the Phantasy Stars. Why would you make the first one like that? I can see you maybe making the last one like that. So you have part 3 and then you also have part 4, Phantasy Star, The End of the Millennium. Well, those are pretty much role-playing games. They were like the role-playing games that went to Genesis and Sega in general. And I don't know how well they stand up to the role-playing games that used to be on, like, say, Nintendo and stuff like that. Because back then, I felt like you played Genesis games. You played Genesis and Nintendo when they used to compete with each other. You played them for different things. People would play sports on both. You played the Sonics, obviously, on Genesis, and the Marios on Nintendo, obviously. But there were a couple games that just were better for Genesis and other games that were better for Nintendo, and they had their own special games like Genesis. I keep saying Genesis because I had Genesis, but Sega in general had the Shinobi games and whatnot. So they had the Golden Axes were there. So they had a lot of games that were just for them. But I've never played Phantasy Star to know how good of a role-playing game it was. But it must have been pretty good because it got a lot of versions. Rise Star, I've never played that before. I'm not sure what that is. Shining Force 2, Shining in the Darkness. Shinobi 3, Return of Ninja Master. I think that's the one where he has his wolf, which was like really cool at the time. And I remember playing that back in the days. Not a lot, but just at a friend's house. Sonic 3, which was probably my favorite Sonic game. Sonic's just a great franchise in general. There's no way around it. Sonic 3D Blast. I enjoyed that game, even though it wasn't really like traditional and there's vibes about it that a lot of people didn't really like. Something about the time, something about me playing it at the time, I enjoyed it, even though I will say it's not your typical Sonic game. Most people may not like it. Sonic and Knuckles, classic as well. Sonic Spinball, I actually enjoyed that a lot too. I think I beat that game too. Sonic the Hedgehog, the first one, obviously, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, which super classic. That's when you really started getting like fast in the game. Streets of Rage 1, 2, and 3, super classics. I never really played 3 much, just a very little bit. And I heard it wasn't as well received, but some people said it was good. I'm not too sure, so I'll probably get into it. But Streets of Rage 2 was a classic to me. Streets of Rage 1 was a classic, but Streets of Rage 2 just amped that up to the point where it was like just amazing. I played that hundreds of times. Super Thunder Blade. I actually downloaded Streets of Rage 2 as a downloadable on my Xbox 360 back in the days because that's how much I loved it. Super Thunder Blade. I never heard of that. Vector Man and Vector Man 2. I played that game a couple times. That's actually good, and the graphics were pretty good on that. Now running through the unlockables, which looking at these right off the back, they shouldn't have been that because they seem to be games that you would have wanted to play because they're the first version of some of these games. So it says Golden Axe Warrior, Phantasy Star, Alien Syndrome, Altered Beast, which they already have up there, so I don't know what that counts as. Congo Bongo, Fantasy Zone, Shinobi, the first one, Space Harrier, and Zaxxon. So, yeah, so it's a nice lineup. Definitely a nice lineup. One thing I want to note too, because I read somewhere that said this, so this is unfortunate for a lot of guys out there, is that Sonic and Knuckles and Sonic 3 back in the days had lock-on technology. You could combine the games and the game got enhanced. You end up having, did it end up having an additional stage? I don't know if it had an additional stage. I don't think so. But it definitely, I want to say that it streamlined the story. It did change some things about it, but also too, you got to play Knuckles throughout the Sonic 3. It did change some aspects of the game because you got to see the story from Knuckles' eyes from the very beginning. So it did change some aspects of it. It did enhance the game. Unfortunately, you don't have that ability. I have a different like super collection version for the Sonic games where I have that. I'm not sure if I have it for 360 or if I had it for PlayStation 2 back in the days, but unfortunately this doesn't have that ability in there. And that's pretty much what you're seeing inside here, but at least, and then you have the rest in a different language. Like I said, at least you get to see the games that come included with it. So definitely you guys, for $20, I definitely think it's worth picking up. And yeah, if you guys are trying to get into retro games or just affordable way to get into gaming, you haven't been in a long time, maybe you want to get your kids into it, because a lot of these new systems are $500 or above, which is crazy. Similar to cell phones, where cell phones used to cost $200 with a contract. Nowadays, a cell phone is $1,300. Video game systems are the same way. You used to be able to buy a video game system for less than $200. $200 was considered the premium, the really nice system. Now it's $500. That's crazy. It's crazy. And now it's even worse because now they expect you to download games. You don't even get a physical copy. So case in point, where I'm at right now, I have an old system. Like I said, 360. I have a couple old systems. And if for whatever reason, the hard drive that I downloaded some games on, and the games I downloaded games on were strictly downloadable games. You couldn't purchase them in stores, but any game you could purchase in stores, I had the hard disk version. For those scenarios, the thing about it is, say if you come fast forward to the future and now something goes wrong with your hard drive, that's it, your game is done. But if you still had the hard copies, you can just pop them in. And now in the newer systems, they're getting away from using disk and they're going towards, at least this is what I heard, they're going towards downloadables. And the problem with that is if something goes wrong with your hard drive, which is more likely something will go wrong with hard drive than a disk. Obviously a disk could get scratched, but if you keep it in good condition, it doesn't just break down for no reason. Hard drives can sometimes do that. There's moving parts, there could be an error, something might go wrong. And even if you had to send it back to the original maker and they were like, okay, we can send you a new one or we can fix the problem, your data on it might be gone forever. So I'm not a fan of that. I don't know how other people feel, but I'm glad that there's still, you can get some of these games, especially for the retro ones. So anyway, you guys, as always, like, share, comment, subscribe. Link's gonna be in the description for you guys to purchase this. And I'll catch you guys in the next video.